Hi, if you are watching this video, you are probably an applicant for refugee status in Brazil. I'm a federal public defender from Brazil's Public Defender's Office. The conditions for granting refugee status are outlined under Brazilian law. Applicants must show they left their country under the risk of losing their lives or being persecuted due to their race, religion, nationality, social group, or political views, or for being in a situation of massive violations of human rights. To do this, you have to be interviewed by a representative from CONADI. During the interview, you must provide a detailed explanation of the reasons that led you to leave your country. The interview is crucial to obtaining your refugee status. Here are some basic guidelines on how you can prepare. The eligibility interview may be held in person or online. This is your chance to tell your story and recount the facts that led you to leave your country of origin. Let's begin. Make sure you check your email inbox and WhatsApp messages, as CONADI will reach you using one of these means to schedule a time, date, and place for your interview. Until then, please make sure your email and telephone details are kept up to date. And do not forget to mention if you have any disabilities or special needs. In time, you will receive a communication with your appointment with CONADI. Be sure to reply to this communication, indicating whether or not you need an interpreter for your language. Should you not be available on the day and time scheduled, please specify the reason so that another date can be fixed. Applying for refugee status is a process that may take years, and the interview is one of its last stages. Therefore, you must gather all the information you need for the interview as soon as you land in Brazil, or as soon as you can. Practice what you choose to say so that you will not forget key pieces of information that may have an impact on your application. Organize your story in a clear manner, with dates listed in chronological order. Still in this video, you will see some of the questions and topics that may be brought up during the interview. This is your chance to start thinking about these topics. To help you remember, write down or use your phone to record what happened to you and why you were unable to stay in your country, as well as what you believe could happen if you had to return. While keeping notes, do not forget to include as many details as possible describing the situations you went through and the places you were in. Be sure to add time marks such as dates, times, seasons of the year, as well as the people you were with. Keep this information safe with you and study it again before the interview. In addition, whenever possible, please send to CONADI any documents registering and demonstrating the facts you would like to report. For example, your passport, photos, videos, news articles, official documents, emails, and WhatsApp messages. Documents do not have to be translated into Portuguese. They are not mandatory either, but they help you support your narrative. Remember, during your interview, either in person or online, reading your notes is allowed. Ask the CONADI representative to pause the interview if you think it's necessary. You must feel comfortable to tell your story in full detail. Should the CONADI representative ask you something you do not know or do not remember, just tell them you don't know or don't remember. If possible, explain why you don't remember. On the day of the interview, be it in person or online, there are a few things you must keep in mind about the process. You will be heard individually by a CONARI representative called Eligibility Officer, who has been trained to conduct your interview. Your interview will be recorded. Eat well and bring something to drink to stay hydrated. Here's another important tip. Don't forget to leave your mobile phone turned off or in silent mode. Listen carefully to the questions asked by the CONARI officer and try to answer them as thoroughly as possible. If you do not understand the question, don't worry. Say you do not understand, and the CONARI officer will ask it again in a different way. Most importantly, all the information in the application process is confidential. You may feel safe. Now let's talk about how the interview is conducted. At the very beginning of the interview, the CONARI officer will explain how it works. Next, they will confirm personal details like name, date of birth, country and city of origin, protocol number, among others. Then, the CONARI officer will ask a number of objective questions about what life in your country was like for you and whether you belong to an ethnic group. An ethnic group is a group of people who speak the same language and have the same religion and traditions. Tell the CONARI officer if you are a member of an ethnic group. They may also ask for information about your family and about your trip. Examples may include: did you have a job in your country of origin? Did you serve in the military? Have you ever been arrested in your home country? When did you arrive in Brazil? Are your family members here with you? Remember, the most important details in your application process concern the situations you experienced in your country of origin, not in Brazil. You will then be allowed to speak freely about the reasons that led you to leave your country of nationality. At this point, it is important to provide as much detail as possible. Try to remember and state the month and the year in which the facts occurred, the places you were in, and your previous addresses, and how many people were with you. If you remember, mention their names as well. Name the means of transportation you used and describe your surroundings. Be sure to mention any threats and persecution you faced, the possible motivation behind them, and whether you sought the authorities for protection. To help you remember details, ask yourself, what did I see? How did I feel? What did I hear? What did I have in mind when this took place? If you faced persecution, how did that happen? Was there any physical harm? Any psychological harm? Describe how it affected you. If talking about these facts and revisiting this story is difficult to you, you can ask for a break. It is normal to feel psychologically overwhelmed remembering certain incidents. If you cannot remember some detail or specific information, let the CONARI officer know. Keep in mind that you are in a safe environment during the interview. You may stop to take a deep breath, drink some water, and connect with yourself again before resuming your story. It is important to mention if you fear anything may happen to you in case you have to return to your country of origin. This is certainly a sensitive section of the interview. We know that telling your story may be painful, but you are the best person to tell it. Keep that in mind and be confident. Now that you are aware of the basic guidelines for the eligibility interview, let me tell you about the next steps. After the interview, your case will be submitted to CONARE for consideration. Next, you will be notified of CONARE's decision. The decision is then reported to the federal police. If you are granted refugee status, you will be allowed to reside in Brazil indefinitely. If not, you may appeal the decision with the federal police, or get information about the possibilities of migratory regularization in Brazil. If you work, study, or have Brazilian children, for instance, you may apply for a resident permit in Brazil. Remember, the recommendations made here are no substitute for legal counseling, nor are they meant as tips on how to give correct answers to the questions asked during the interview. The best way to reply is by being honest and staying true to your own story. If you have questions about refugee status or immigration law, please contact DPU. To locate the nearest branch of the Public Defender's Office, please visit www.dpu.def.br/contatos-dpu. The Public Defender's Office is here for you.